All right, let's talk about ed tech. Today, we're going to open up what I'm calling the ed tech toolkit. We're going to look at why so much of this promising, expensive technology just fizzles out in schools. And more importantly, we'll dig into what the research says about how to actually make it work.
I mean, you've seen it, right? The shiny new smartboards, the carts of tablets, bought with all the best intentions, and a year later, they're basically just expensive dust collectors. So why? Why does this happen over and over again? Well, that's the big question we're going to tackle. To get to the bottom of it, we have to start with people. You know, the human element. So the first section of our toolkit is all about the psychology of it all, really understanding the user. And in this case, that's the teacher. What actually makes them decide to use a new piece of tech, or just leave it in the box? Okay, so research basically gives us two main ways to look at this. The first one is called the Technology Acceptance Model, or TAM for short. It's all about the tech itself. The big questions are pretty simple. Is it useful? And is it easy to use? But then there's the theory of planned behavior, or TPB. And that one zooms out to focus on the person, their attitude, what their colleagues think, and whether they really feel like they can pull it off. Let's dig into TAM for a second. This model is honestly beautifully simple. It says that a teacher's choice to use or not use a new tool really just boils down to two things. First, is this thing actually going to help me do my job better? That's perceived usefulness. And second, is it going to be a huge headache to learn? That's perceived ease of use. If the answer to both is a solid yes, chances are they'll use it. Now, the theory of planned behavior, TPB, it takes a much wider view. It argues that the real key is the intention to use the tech. And that intention gets shaped by three big things. One, their personal attitude. Do they think it's a good idea? Two, social norms. What are the other teachers doing? Are the mentors using it? And three, their own feeling of control, which is really just confidence. Do they believe they have what it takes to use it well? And this chart right here really lays out the difference. Think about a school rolling out a new learning management system, an LMS. The TAM model asks, is it easy to use? Will it make grading faster? It's focused on the tool's features. But the TPB model asks totally different questions. How do teachers feel about this new system? Are the veteran teachers on board? Do the newer teachers feel like they'll get enough support to not look foolish? And here's the thing, so many schools get this wrong. They focus only on the TAM side, the tech's features, and completely forget about the human side, the culture, the confidence, the TPB stuff.
Okay, so let's say we get the why. We understand what makes a teacher decide to give something a try. That's only half the battle, right? Now we get to the second part of our toolkit, the blueprint for actually integrating the tech. These are the frameworks that show us how to use technology in a way that actually improves learning. First up is a framework called TPACPAC. It stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know, but the idea behind it is so powerful. It says that great tech use isn't just about knowing how to work an app, it's about finding that sweet spot where three different kinds of knowledge overlap: knowing the tech, knowing how to teach, and knowing your subject inside and out. The real magic happens right there in the middle, where all three of those circles meet. Next up, we have the SAM-ARM model. I like to think of this one as a ladder. It helps you think about how you're using tech. At the very bottom rung, you have substitution. That's just using tech to do the same old task, like typing an essay instead of handwriting it. Then you climb up a bit to augmentation, where the tech adds some cool new features. Then you get to the exciting stuff, modification, where the task itself starts to change. And all the way at the top, you have redefinition. This is where you're using tech to do things that would have been literally impossible without it. It's a great way to ask, okay, are we just swapping tools, or are we actually transforming learning here? Now, all this theory is fantastic, but what does it look like in the real world? Let's check out a case study to see how these ideas actually get put into practice. And for this, we're going to look at Singapore. Their education system is a world leader in this stuff. And this quote really gets to the heart of their secret sauce. They don't just show teachers a new app and say, good luck. They focus intensely on how to apply that app effectively to teach, ninth grade biology or fifth grade history. So picture this. Imagine the training for a science teacher in Singapore. They're not just taught how to click the buttons on some new simulation software. That's the technology piece. No, that training is specifically paired with how to use that software to support inquiry-based learning. That's the pedagogy. And the whole thing is built around the actual national science curriculum. That's the content. It's a perfect real-world example of that TPAC framework we just talked about. And the result? Well, it's incredibly powerful.
By building their entire teacher training program on a solid framework like TPAC, Singapore gets past that here's a laptop phase. They actually build the skills and confidence of their teachers. They've created a system where technology isn't an add-on. It's a natural, meaningful part of how kids learn. And that's made them a global leader. So, we've looked at the psychology of why teachers adopt tech, and we've looked at the blueprints for how to use it well. What does this all mean for you? Let's wrap it all up into one final, actionable toolkit. So here it is, your whole shebang. When you're picking new tools, use the technology acceptance model. Ask, is it genuinely useful? Is it easy to use? Then, when you're rolling it out, use the theory of planned behavior. Think about the culture, build support, and address teachers' actual beliefs and fears. For your training, use TPAC as your guide. Design sessions that blend the tech, the teaching strategy, and the subject matter. And finally, use that SAMR ladder as a constant check-in to ask yourselves, can we push this further? Can we use this tool to redefine what's possible in our classrooms? So at the end of the day, these aren't just a bunch of random academic theories. They are practical, proven tools that can help you make better decisions. Which really just leaves one final question for you to think about. Now that you have this toolkit, if you had to pick one tool to start with at your school, which one would it be and why?